Norm, will you please do your pledge of flag?
I'd be more than happy to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's my speech.
All right. Approval of minutes for the October 28, 2010 special finance session and the November 1st, 2010 regular meeting. I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Second.
Is there any questions? Motion on the floor and seconded to approve the minutes for October 28th and November the 1st. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anyone sign in for public comments?
No, sir.
All right, let's go to administrative section. Mr. Roach.
Yes, sir. As you know, the volunteers, this is a continuation of more volunteers being trained. In B, Sandy Johnson for employment of October 4th, 8th, 11th, and 12th, and that was a little bit of a mistake from, she was on here before, and I thought she was finished, but the principal at the time kept using her, and between he and I, there's a miscommunication. And I'm taking all the time responsibility for that because he is brand new and he overwhelmed with a lot of new things. So, but I did not feel she should lose any money because she was called in and thought she was working. So we corrected that and you won't see that anymore. That's my understanding, right, Chris? As far as C, this is a student who has, I'll just say, some medical reasons that we provide transportation for Ways, and then the mom picks her up. And this is a continuation that's been going on for several years, is my understanding. D, the purpose of to abolish the contract, and there's not any additional days. That's the same days left on his previous contract, but it helps him with the IRS, I think. He more advantageous to Doug this way than the old contract. That is the only reason we're asking to change. But again, there is no additional days here. This is how many he has left in this contract.
What was the original number of days?
60.
60. Okay. So he's worked 30 days?
Yes. Out-of-county transfers, you can see that. F, I think you were present during this one. If you recall that suspension. Everyone remember? Okay. That's just to ratify what had occurred. This was, it says kind of inappropriate communication with a female student. Yes, the board was present. You may have not been for some other reason, but Ben Shue did it, and the other board members were present.
That's right.
That's right, that's right. Finance, as you can see.
We need to vote on the minutes.
Yes, sorry.
I need to recuse myself from A. So I'll make a motion that we approve B through F.
I'll make the motion to approve
Okay.
the
I'm, huh? Yes. You made the motion to approve B through F? Or I should say, we can do A through F. I can just recuse myself. Period.
Okay.
You want to make the motion for A through F? Okay.
Yes, I'll make a motion. They threw it.
I'll second.
Is there any questions? Motion's been made and seconded to approve administrative section A through F. Please note that I recuse myself. All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Tim,
Fine, let's go ahead.
for what I know, any questions, Ms. Candy had things to do and asked to be excused, and we can have any questions given to me or asking me, and I will pass them along and get answers for all board members tomorrow. That was the invoices. B is county pension. As you know, you see the two people, and there's only 3 counties that do this in the state of West Virginia. So retirees are very lucky to have that. C, certification of deposit account. As you recall, in the last meeting, that was one of the requests. Also, President Matthews asked this to be on the agenda so that we can, yes. Well, no, this is just,
This is just.
This is account.
This is the account.
yeah, nothing else. So I'm moving on. D is a,
Can we get back to C real quick?
Yes.
And please note that, I don't know if you all read the attachment, that this account will be, you'll be able to solicit donations for anything. I think that's important. Go ahead. Just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that if we start drumming up money for this, for the facilities, then we will be able to make donations into this account. That's good.
just a caveat. I want to check something we made before we start soliciting, that I may come back to you all at the next board meeting, or email you all some things just to make everything clear. Because there are some restrictions that we may have, and I just want to make sure that I don't advise you correctly. That's all I'm asking. You may be totally right. Sometimes solicitations, you have to be very careful as board members, and I want to make sure it's done properly so we don't get into any issue.
You just, this account, you can accept donations.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
That's what-
absolutely.
Okay.
D, and I will turn this over to President Matthews.
This is a pledge of $100,000 from the permanent improvement funds generated by the 5-year levy after July the 1st, 2011 towards construction athletic field. Basically, we have $100,000 that is set aside every year from the levy. I think the year before last, we did not use the $100,000. This year, we used some of that money. There was a $100,000 carryover to this year, which we have, basically, we had $200,000 this year in that fund. And that, some of that money was used for the roof of this facility along with the SBA, if you all remember. But next year, we will also have another $100,000 that comes in. And this is the pledge, this is basically a pledge for that $100,000 for the levy that's coming in next year. I'm sure we're probably going to have a little bit of carryover from this year, okay? So, but one thing that has been mentioned is that if there is some type of catastrophic event, some type of an emergency where the state comes in and cuts our funding, then we still need to be able to pull this money if we do need it in the event of an emergency, and that would only be for the 2011 year, because in 2012 we would have another $100,000 coming in. So that would just be for next year, and that's just in the event of an emergency. But this is this would be to pledge the $100,000 from the Permanent Improvement Fund that we get for the levy to go into this certificate of deposit account, and that would match the $100,000 that the county commission has put up. So this would be a pretty good start for the facility.
Ask a question.
Go ahead.
If this money would be put in there or transferred in there by us, with that caveat, and does that mean that when we get our readout, that we'll see the county commission putting their $100,000 in there too, or is it a time frame?
No, they will, as soon as we allocate the money, then they allocate the money. Yes. Correct. So this is the pledge of the $100,000 match, which will match them, the $100,000 that they put up, so we can start the account with $200,000, which is good, something that we're doing.
So, I mean, do we have this is going to be fairly soon, I assume, is that what you're saying, as far as this money transferring into that account?
Once you approve it tonight, that money can be transferred at any time after tonight.
then what KK's saying, then the commission would follow very soon after.
Yeah, that's why I asked for, because part of the reason we're doing this way, I think,
It's
because we
to
had
secure
that,
that, you know.
I understand.
that other 100, secure that other 100,000.
Well, the way this reads, it sounds like it's generated by the 5-year levy after July 1, 2000.
There's 100,000 each year,
Yeah, I know. We don't have 100,000 right now.
but we could put it in, and then when that 100,000 comes in, transfer it out. I mean, I don't see any reason.
Then why even put that in there?
Well, it's,
After July 1.
Eventually, that's where the funding source is coming from, but I think the purpose of doing it now is to generate more money that people feel you're helping yourself,
Right.
instead of waiting, let's say, for 6 or 7 more months, that this is kind of a jump start. And all Bertie has to know is July 1 or now, that money that's dedicated can be transferred out 2011, July the 1st, bring it back over to general fund if it needs to be transferred out to this account now.
So are we going to transfer it out?
That's up
Or are
to
we
you
not
all.
going to transfer it out?
I would recommend we do it because we get our hands on it. That was my stipulation. And other than that, I would see no reason not to. If it would help us generate more money, including the 100,000. And, you know, I hate to say it, but as long as you're generous and want to give it to us now, I'd like to get my hands on it in our account. Yes. And that's kind of like you can't use on this,
Yeah.
except that hands on the case.
It is another mix.
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of when I was curious about the earlier. That's the reason I asked that, because whether that money was available now, or would it be wouldn't be available in July. That's the reason I asked my question.
Well, if it's my understanding, the way, that's where the money would come from, dedicated to it. But in the meantime, we would put $100,000 in there. That was my understanding, so if it's worded wrong, then we need to reword it.
you can reword it.
I can understand what Don's, because I had the same, when I saw that date, I thought that the money wasn't available until then.
I didn't either.
I just knew
That's
that-
how I read it to myself.
I just knew
That's
the
why I'm asking.
funding source, that's where the funding is coming from. At that point in time.
But until then, it's going to come out of the general fund.
Yeah,
Basically.
Yes.
And then it'll be reimbursed
Okay,
in July.
that makes sense, okay.
Okay.
That's okay. I mean, that's fine. I just,
Is there any more questions on D?
we're going to revise the motion.
We will, when we make the,
Even
you
to
got-
include
yeah,
the
'cause you-
catastrophic events or whatever.
yeah,
That'll have to-
we'll have to do that. Go ahead with E.
Okay. E, in lieu of transportation, these are students that walk more than 2 miles, and go through 2 creeks, as it was told to me. You know, that it helps us, and so we pay these people to do that. And then the financial statements for your review.
Could you just review one thing?
Yes.
On this, on Ed, the revision to the salary schedule?
Yes. What would you like to know?
All right. I think you had gone over this before, but just to refresh my memory. This is to ensure that people who become administrators in our county, if they have a national board certification as a teacher, they will also get paid for that
The
certification.
local will contribute $3,500 and the state also pays $3,500.
But that's what this is.
Yes. Wayne and Boone, Putnam wants to, they don't have it, because I was just asking.
How many teachers, how many principals do we have?
None at this time, but potentially we have one coming.
When was
None at
this?
this time.
When did you approach us about this?